turn now to the alarming discovery providing some answers to the questions surrounding the suicide of NFL great and father of four, Junior Seau. Today, a team of doctors confirmed that he suffered from degenerative brain disease, which could be linked to the years he spent taking blows and giving them on the football field. Tonight, Seau's family is speaking out for the first time about this discovery in an ABC News and ESPN exclusive. Here's ABC's Jim Avila.
For 20 years, he was a warrior on the field. Junior Seau, the monster in the middle, a defensive icon whose devastating hits, more than 1,850 tackles in his career, knocked out opponents. But after his sudden and shocking suicide just 8 months ago, a gunshot to the chest, some speculating he knew his brain needed to be preserved for examination, and many agreeing that all those hits on the 43-year-old's head could have played a role in his own death.
He just toughed everything out.
And now Seau's family says they did play a central role.
Did he know that he was getting concussions?
Oh, sure, he did.
And the family has results from a study on Seau's brain at the National Institutes of Health to back them up. ABC News and ESPN have learned exclusively that Seau's brain showed signs of CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, the concussion-related injury that is at the center of today's football safety controversy. Dr. Russell Lonzer conducted the study.
What was found in Junior Seau's brain was cellular changes consistent with CTE.
It means that he had a lot of head-to-head collisions over the course of 20 years of playing in the NFL.
The actual cells in his brain, you now know, suffered damage.
Exactly, yeah.
Gina Seau, Junior's former wife to whom he remained close, and his 4 children, decided to donate his brain to the NIH to try to understand why the man they loved and knew as an outgoing leader on and off the field changed so drastically in his final few years and ultimately ended it all, detached and alone.
And a lot of things towards the end of his life, patterns that we saw and things that worried us. His decision-making and his ambition decreased.
He would sometimes lose his temper. He would get irritable over very small things, kind of go off the grid for a couple weeks.
All symptoms, experts say, of CTE.
Impulsivity, forgetfulness, aggressive behavior at times, depression, and sometimes suicidal ideation.
Together because you'll never get it right.
Yeah.
You know, and I've done hundreds of cases. Things that I said didn't happen for 7 years. I'm like, this is going to happen to me. This person, are going to be connected to this. So how my process works is when I go into it, I'll look down at the ground. Halfway through a reading, someone said, "Aren't they down there?" And he was the chief of Cedars. Lifetime. Like, how did you not know that they're not down? He just didn't know.
Yeah, because you're looking down.
And they give me pictures and feelings and emotions and that kind of thing. They might say names. The names might not be for, and that's another thing we find out over and over again. It has nothing to do, they don't care about who's over there. They want to talk about the people here.
Okay.
So they'll give names that might be associated to the people here. I'm a huge skeptic, so I'm not trying to say, oh, if I don't get this, listen, I have learned to just be humbled by this and just allow it, and I'm not going to get every interpretation right. They're never wrong. I just might not understand what they're saying, which has screwed up an investigation or two. You might have questions, ask them. Make it very vague. I do work with names, and so I might, it is kind of like calling them out of the classroom.
Okay.
That helps me with my connection with them. Other people need something or have something. I think you have a picture you might have brought or something like that, or have it on your phone.
I have a few, yeah.
You have a few things, right? I just was being shown your beautiful purse that I have purse envy right now. It's, that was just funny. They showed me like an old school photo. I know that doesn't, that's their way of showing me that you have a picture or something. And there's also something that, you have 4 things in there, approximately. That
Yeah.
pieces?
Yeah, I mean, including what's on my phone.
Oh, got it, that's
So
a lot
there,
more.
yeah, there's 3 things in
Three,
there. Just
okay.
Here's my phone, so that's 4.
They don't want me to use any of it just yet. Okay. They're like, no, can't use it, not until later. I'm getting a father. It feels like a father. Is your father on the other side? No. Okay. So there's a father figure here, though. So let me go through that. And it could be somebody that is a father. You asked them questions this morning, didn't you? Did you talk to them this morning? Yeah. They're like, she asked everything she needed. She told them what she needed. That is so great. And they were talking to you on the road up here. They told you you were to put your phone down at one point, but you were just doing with maps or something like that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they just want you to know that they were with you. Okay, that's what they were showing me. Okay, he's showing me in pictures that the vastness of love that you had for him and he had for you.
Can we use your first name?
Is there a T?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
One of his classes, the professor said, Tina blank for the last name, and couldn't pronounce the last name either. He said, will she please stand up? And he went, I'm never going by that name.
That's interesting. He showed me something like Robin Williams. Was there something wrong with his, his energy, his brain?
The
Or
brain.
that, the brain.
The brain. So,
Yeah.
let's ask him, Junior. Oh, fuck, I did it. Anyway, let's ask him.
That's probably why she kept saying he's small. That sounds like a small name, but he's a big guy.
Yeah, he's a small name, but a
He's
big
showing
guy.
me that and I just didn't know.
All right, that's his name, Junior.
Junior. I couldn't get happy and it wasn't your fault. Hold on. He was not he did not have oxygen going to the brain. He was just not in his right mind. His heart, because I'm asking about the kids, and that's why the deflections are coming everywhere. That's why she had everybody sit down a little bit. Okay, why don't you tell me? One of them's graduating?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's so sorry he's not there. Or if they have graduated, but he just said he's so sorry he's not there. The other one's jumping into from middle school to high school or something like that.
High school to college. Right?
High school to college.
Yeah, the last one.
The last one. He's like, I almost made it to the finish line. Thank you. He said he went and saw people privately, like doctors, or did he go see people for his mind? I just felt like whatever he was taking made it worse.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Lots of Ambien.
Fuck.
Lots of Ambien.
He covered everything.
Junior, would you
Everything.
show...
He had people covering things.
Junior, show Jennifer how you showed up in our research, if you don't mind. And it has to do with your brain.
Show me again. Oh, wrestling. Or not wrestling. What was it called? He just showed me the guy that, not Microsoft, but what was it? Right? He showed me that guy, and he showed me their research that they were doing because they know that for concussions, and that's what caused all of this, and that everything. Because I'm looking fucking everywhere, and he's like, just relax, still a control freak, and sorry. And so he was just sharing, but I never went. That's how he showed up. So how did that?
So you don't remember. So I'm asking him.
Am I the one with the concussion?
You're the one with the concussion. Let's ask him.
I'm sorry.
Somebody, the Microsoft guy, we were talking to him, and we were talking to him about who greeted him on the other side.
Oh, it was him!
Yeah, it was him.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Diseases can affect people and felt that. So to be able to do anything that accelerates the treatment of diseases like that would be a fantastic thing.
As a son speaking about your mom, how would you characterize her case or how it strikes you to have somebody in the family with Alzheimer's?
It's devastating. In my mother's case, she's physically healthy, but she's just not the person, anywhere near the person she was.
There has been a big discussion about how product-oriented or biotech process-oriented your next levels will be. And how would you answer that question if people are out there waiting for a treatment or a cure for Alzheimer's or for Parkinson's?
This next research is trying to fundamentally understand how the brain works. And if you understood how the brain worked better, that would help you treat different kinds of personality disorder, all sorts of different other diseases associated with the brain.
We'll be getting much more into that. Also, the philanthropy. Boy, he was a philanthropist. The Allen Institute has done so much good, what he's been doing for the homelessness crisis in the city. We'll be talking about all these things and more. We do hope you join us for King 5 News Take 5 coming up at 4 o'clock.
Here we go. Rock and roll. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Welcome back to class.
Yes, I've been looking forward to our class today.
So I invited some people to class today.
Okay.
And
so the first person that popped in my head was John Lennon, but I don't think that's who you asked.
Yes, I did. Because a friend of his is here. He wants to talk to him. I think. We want to talk to him.
So you really asked for John Lennon to be here?
Well, I said to this person who I asked to show up today.
Okay.
I said, look around the class.
Okay.
Take a look who's here.
I'm the biggest skeptic of this work, so I was like, what? You did not
And this
ask.
guy that we want to speak to knows John's son that I know. And so that's... So it's
like somebody that was a love of some sort. I don't know.
A love? Well, I'll give you a hint. It's a male.
No, I know, but it felt like somebody... So when you said that, though... Somebody that loved Julian? Somebody that was
Probably not romantically, but don't know that much about this person. I've never met this person. The only way he can show up here today is through people in our class. Who we knew a few. And so I invited him.
Did anything have to do with Rod Stewart? Rod Stewart's still on the planet, right?
Rod Stewart's still on the planet.
Okay, is it connected?
Well, I don't know. I don't know. He was a fan of music.
Okay.
What do you hear him singing?
Some guys have all the luck.
That's okay. That's appropriate for him.
Some guys do nothing like them.
So who would be a guy that was really lucky? No longer on the planet.
Really lucky, no. Well, there's a couple of them trying to fight forward, but
Go ahead. Whoever we can. I know.
well, Anthony Bourdain showed up.
Very good. I talked to Anthony too. I asked him because this is somebody that this guy would know, and he would help us. Are we going to have Jennifer guess, or should I tell her?
Is he a piano player?
I think he played a guitar. I don't know. He might have played piano, but I'm almost positive.
Do you love classical music though too?
I don't know. He was not famous for being a musician, but he loved.
I felt like he managed it.
He loved musicians.
Okay.
At first he was like, what? And then it was like...
Talking about Steve Jobs?
Very good. He's close friends with Steve Jobs. I asked Steve to show up. So that's good, okay? And I asked Steve to show up and introduce this guy to our class, okay? I asked Anthony because he would know Anthony. I asked John because he knew his son. And I asked Steve Jobs because they're on the same level.
I get it, but I don't know who he is. He's like that Microsoft guy.
Bingo.
Correct?
Correct.
He showed me, but I didn't get it. And so when I don't get things...
It's all right, you don't know his name. I'm going to tell you his name. First name is Paul.
Paul. I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, okay. Let me just tell you, it's okay.
He owned a football team, right?
He what?
A basketball team or football team?
Very good. He did. He owned both. His last name is Allen. Paul Allen. So what do you get when I say his name?
PA.
PA. You get a sense of him? Is he here in our class?
couple hours to round him up, but I just think it's funny. I just don't know.
Very good. A couple hours, I'd go. I
See how long
asked
that took me? I have no idea.
It didn't.
I don't know anything.
Sweetheart,
Okay.
in terms of the fucking flip side, it took you no time. It took you a blink to get it. You named 3 people that I invited to help us figure out who this was.
Okay.
They were all right on the mother number. Okay, can I just say, it's like ridiculous. Because I said, look, Jobs, you know this guy. Now, let's ask Steve. Is he ready to talk to us? Is Paul ready to talk to us?
He's kind of going like this, but
He's a little dubious. That's all right, buddy.
he's not very. He's an inwardly outspoken person.
Okay,
from what I'm
he's
getting.
a shy person. Very good.
Not shy. He likes to understand the mechanics of how things work, so I feel like he's watching.
Very good. And so,
Like you would a game, I guess.
so dude, this is your spotlight. All right? Even though you're watching, could somebody push his chair forward, Luana?
Luana's going to talk for him.
Yes, well, I was just going to say that, Paul. Luana will speak for you. Okay? So I'm going to ask you some questions. We're going to get into it.
Okay.
Because what the fuck? Why not?
Why not?
So who was there to greet you when you crossed over?
I just got a big football player.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. Let me just go with it.
Just go with it. White or black?
Black. African American.
African American. Somebody we might know?
Kind of like Polynesian. Maybe I just see him black, but it might be Polynesian. He's just a big guy that I just see the hair. I wouldn't know, but give me some more information you wanted. She's like, I'm dreading getting it out of him.
And so, but that's Luana saying it's like pulling teeth?
At that point, but I'm asking him, I need a fucking algorithm for my app. Can you figure that out over there on the other side?
He can.
Please?
He can. We'll get to that. Let's one thing at a time. So the first person to greet you on the flip side was a football player. All right? Was he somebody who played for the Seattle Seahawks?
Was it Seahawks? Okay.
Yeah.
It was the colors. I just didn't know.
Okay. Somebody who played for them and died, or is alive.
Thank you. I feel that he didn't play for him, but he tried to help him. He wanted him to play, but he died before he could play for him.
Paul wanted to help him.
Yes. But he passed away before
he could help him. Did he want to help him with his illness? Did he have a brain problem?
That's what it feels like,
Okay,
but I don't know if it's concussions. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what it is. Okay, that would be what it was. So, Paul, you created an institute on brain. Paul, you created an institute, brain science, to help brains. You gave $100 million to help brain science. Okay?
That's so fascinating.
So, this is why this person
That's why it's so
came forward.
great, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. But it felt like it had to do with brains. He helped him with his brain.
So, Paul, now that you're on the flip
He
side,
was the start of it. It feels like.
Speak up.
It was this guy was the start of it.
oh, very good. Okay.
Like he was the one that
that inspired him
he
to.
was so heartbroken over it.
Okay, was it
Here he
a?
owns a sports team, and he feels like they're hurting. Like
Yeah.
He,
I understand. They're hurting the
he's trying to
athletes.
create helmets that were even stronger.
Very good. Okay, and so, but this is also, I think, you created the Brain Science Institute. People said it was because of your mom.
Okay.
And is your mom still on the planet, Paul? Or is she off the planet?
Feels like she's still here.
Okay, and your dad?
I think his dad's up there.
Okay, very good.
Hold on a second. He keeps showing me this football player, so give me a second.
Very good. No, it's fine. Let's talk to him. He's fine now, isn't he?
Yes.
Very good.
He said that he was in charge of getting it how it wasn't Paul Allen, right?
Yeah.
He's saving so many people. Like, so if it wasn't for him, I felt like because he showed me the energy that gets dispersed. Like he wouldn't have done all the things that he did. I think he would have because of his mom, but he also was a huge part of it.
Was this football player? Yes, I understand. Well, there was a Chicago Bear named Dave Duerson who killed himself, shot himself because of his brain. Dave Duerson.
Yeah, I have the chills. That's it. He says you're the first person to meet him.
Today.
And he's saying thank you. So he never played for him, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
But Dave played for yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He's saying that it wasn't Dave's fault, and he knew that there was. I don't know. So he keeps going back.
Let's talk about brain science a little bit, okay? I appreciate this, and it's great. It's great. I understand. And your institute has been studying this phenomenon. What Jennifer and I are doing, and Luana can explain it to you.
He knows it. He got the download real fast.
Okay. Which is we're trying.
He still doesn't understand it completely.
Okay.
He understood it before. Wait, hold on. Well, did you know you were going to die? He goes, yeah. I'm like, wait.
Say that again?
I'm asking him, well, did you know you were going to die? He goes, I knew I was going to die. I'm like, hold on. I'm saying, did you know then? He had this, thank you, he had this sense of urgency. He didn't know he was going to die, but he had this sense of urgency to do so much, so fast, so quickly.
So in terms of...
He wanted to protect people.
In terms of your journey and your path, when you chose this lifetime, so you chose to check out around this time, or, I mean, you got this cancer earlier and then it went away and then it came back.
Thank you. He beat it the first time. He wasn't done yet with his work.
Correct.
And it's not that he's done now, but it had a lot of foundation and legs to keep going when he was gone.
What would you like to say to your sister?
What would you like to say to your sister? He just showed me a big heart.
Okay. Are you, Jennifer, are you aware of who his sister is at all? No connection. All right.
No, zero.
So let's
I just got read, so I don't know, and I don't know. I've read a lot this today.
So, Paul, if I was to contact your sister who's still on the planet and give her a specific message from you...
Is it Tracy?
No. If I gave her a specific message from you, what would that be that would, beyond a shadow of a doubt, make her realize that you're still in existence? I know that's a tall order, but Luana can help.
Tell her that she hears his voice. There's something with the number 5 and then 2. So it could be 52, it could be May 2nd. There's something with her hearing. It's something that she just keeps.
Okay.
You know.
I mean, something wrong with her hearing, or she hears like a noise and she doesn't know what it is, but it's you.
She doesn't think she can hear me. She doesn't. I don't know if she necessarily believes in this.
Okay, she won't. I'm sure she won't. These are all scientists. This is the whole thing that you and I are up against. So we have the guy who could most help us on the planet standing in front of us right now. The guy who could most help us.
This is a lot of pressure. Thank God I don't know anything.
Well, so you don't have to. I understand it. But Paul, that's the question.
How sweet was that
Can you step up for us? Oh, Dave Duerson, I'd be happy to. I'll pass that message along.
Well, no, I'm saying that to him. Like, that was so sweet that he came forward to say that the football player was just like, yeah, because of what happened, it had to, like, there was who knows with the connection or whatever, but
Paul, did you know Dave Duerson, or just you were just aware of him? Or was there another athlete?
He knew him.
He knew him. And was there another athlete, did you know, that had suffered from this brain trauma from football?
Many.
Yeah, all of them.
Many.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Paul, what's your regret? What do you regret, buddy? We're going to give you all the normal questions.
What do you regret? Time. Okay, hold on. What time? I regret not loving more.
Okay, very good. What are you surprised? Oh, sorry.
He regrets not being taught, if there was a way to be taught, how to love unconditionally. He tried to do it in so many different ways. I feel like he says he hurt the ones he loved the most.
So now you had a boat You had a couple of big boats.
There's something specific or significant about the name.
Of the boat?
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say it, but let's see if you can put it in Jennifer's mind. You had two big ones. Let's talk about the one that had music involved in it.
Well, I saw the jellyfish, but I'm not seeing. I don't.
Jellyfish is close.
I don't know what it is. It's okay. He showed me the octopus.
Very good. That's the name of his book.
He showed me the octopus, but I didn't believe it.
Okay, very good.
Isn't that funny?
Very good. Very good. Very good. I think you had two big ass
I
boats.
cannot believe I didn't say octopus.
That's all right. That's okay. You did say octopus. I didn't say it. I did not say it.
I know you didn't say it, but he showed it. I'm such a skeptic that if they show me that, they have to go to something else with tentacles, and they have to go to something.
He's learning, so assume that he's in kindergarten. He's only given us what he sees.
They're all laughing about the kindergarten aspect.
Okay. So now you've met people in our class. Can you look around our class and you see all the musicians that are here? You were a huge fan of music. So who is the person you most want to talk to in our class?
Well, Jimi Hendrix showed up before. So Jimmy, John,
so Jimmy,
like all the guitar players, but I didn't know if it was because you said guitar, you play guitar, and so these people started.
So Jimmy, what's your opinion of Paul? Anything you want to say to Paul, or what have you guys talked about so far?
That he had it and he didn't trust it either.
Music.
Yeah.
He had it. Okay. And Paul did something that's related to you and your family. I don't think Jennifer's aware of it, but Paul, who was from Seattle, and was also like Jimmy was from Seattle.
Right. A huge foundation.
A huge foundation, correct.
He just showed me an enormous foundation.
Very good, correct.
That's amazing.
And a place. A place, a museum.
Well, that's what it looked like. He showed me like this huge foundation, but it was in front of like art, like different artwork and stuff.
I've been there. It's called, I think it's the Jimi Hendrix Museum. It was. Now it's called Mopop or something. Music.
Every time I talk to you, I know so much less.
Anyway, but so here's the thing. Paul.
He showed me like the Ohio thing, the Music Hall of Fame, or whatever it was.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Oh, he saw it. Okay, great. So it's just like that. Okay, instead of having the Cleveland Hall of Fame, he's got the West Coast Hall of Fame.
That's awesome. Way better.
And inside are all of Jimmy's jackets and all that stuff, and his guitars,
the picks,
and all the Seattle boys. So it's Nirvana.
I love that.
Have you met Nirvana dude? Have you seen?
I have never met him.
No, Paul. Have you run into Nirvana dude? You know, what's his name?
Yeah.
How's he doing?
He's worried about Courtney.
Who isn't?
Yeah, exactly.
I've met her. She's a bit of an odd duck, but anyway.
He's getting ready for his another return. Part of him.
Oh, very good. Okay. How do we get people in your Brain Science Foundation to pay attention to what Jennifer and I are doing, so that we can help them? Speak to you. Have this ongoing conversation.
Said it will not take much. That's interesting.
It will not take much. Well, I think
we need to write him.
Well, I think it's also an interview with him. So what would you like to tell the people at the Brain Science group?
Stop making everything science-based. Open up the reasons. Open up. Be open to reasons of. Say it one more time. Sorry. When you get it, you lose it. Tell them to be open to of the way they left and why things happen.
The way they left?
And why things happen.
Who's they? The way people leave, you mean? When they die?
Yes.
And why things happen. Pay attention to that.
Pay attention to that.
Okay, very good. And can we help them with that? I mean, can we help to put them in the right direction for that?
Not right away.
Okay, very good. And Paul, I want you to look around the room. You'll see Michael Newton, Morton, our buddy Morton is here. He spent 30 years doing this kind of research, which is...
He says he's working on it.
Okay, very good. But the idea is that...
He's teaching him about energy and how to manipulate energy.
How to manipulate energy. And the reason I asked Steve to show up is because I thought Steve would help us sort of identify Paul, and also, you know, they're two signs of their what?
They have a lot of words to say to each other, but they both have nothing but mutual like love for each other.
Okay. And what would you like to say to Bill? Paul?
Who's Bill?
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates. Hold on. Don't worry about the recent update. There was something that crashed their computers, I think. I don't know.
Don't worry about the recent update. That's kind of funny.
That is kind of funny. I'm like, do you want to tell Bill that he's got this? He's like, no.
Tell him that he's got this?
Yeah, I'm like, do you want to tell Bill that he's got this? It's fine, kind of thing. And he's like, no. Tell Bill to retire so he can have fun for once.
Okay, very good. That's very specific. When you met Bill the first time in high school, when you were 15 years old?
In a garage.
In a garage?
Yeah.
I don't think they were in a garage. I think they were in high school.
Yeah.
But did you actually they were on club together.
Right, but there was a garage that they built stuff.
Yeah, where they built stuff.
That was just the thought that he did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And my question though is, when you met Paul, did you sense that you were going to work together? Was there a recognition of spirit?
Are you talking about? Who are you talking about?
When Paul and Bill Gates met.
Right.
Were you
yes,
guys?
Absolutely.
And had you guys mapped this out?
Wait. Hold on. I don't think they liked each other at first because they felt everything that they were supposed to do, and they almost felt like it was competition. So it was too much. But once they broke that, it was I think almost over a girl. I'm not even sure.
Well, it's somebody. But I guess the question would be, yeah, I'm done. Oh, some more coffee? Great. I guess the question would be, when Bill stabbed you in the back.
He's still bringing that up, yeah.
So tell me about that. How do you feel about that now? You're only a week away from being on the planet.
He's like, I couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less. Okay, very good.
I had the most toys, I won.
Well, that's a good question. So you left with is it correct? Like $20 billion you left behind. What's going to happen to that $20 billion, and do you care?
Dispersed.
So what advice would you give to people who think about that all the time?
He goes, as long as it goes to causes that he was a part of.
People get so caught up in money, all they think about, when they say your name, they go, and he left behind $20 billion. And everybody goes, you mean $20 billion you can't cure yourself from cancer? Right?
Well, look at Steve.
And Steve as well. And so people they're distressed because the world views billions as the goal. So,
hell no pun intended.
So Paul, look around our class. Is there anybody here you want to talk to?
Prince.
Well, Prince, do you want to talk to or play with? What do you want to ask Prince?
He wants to play.
Okay, but what do you want to ask Prince?
How he wore those high shoes.
Yeah, well, Paul, you'll hear that Prince told us that
that's the whole reason he died.
His high heels killed him.
Yeah, his high heels killed him. Exactly, that's why he's saying it's funny.
All right, so Paul, what guitar do you have? If I asked you to construct a guitar in front of you, what period?
He just showed me a ukulele.
Is that because that's as far as you've gotten so far? Is that why? Because it's like the simplest instrument?
Has a higher vibration than just frame.
Okay.
All right. No
harder
hierarchy.
To play.
No hierarchy. We're just a softer,
harder to play. George Harrison is here in our class, and George was a huge ukulele guy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you went to his house.
They're playing together.
Very good. All right.
No, the other one.
All right. Your Octopussy yacht, which I was never on. God knows why. But you had a recording studio in there. I think you put out an album with your buddies. Anything you want to tell your friends? What about Julian Lennon? What would you like to tell Julian Lennon?
Yeah, he does. There's a lot of love for him.
But how about a specific sentence?
He says more than we know.
Anything you want to tell him?
It's interesting. 2 different kinds of feathers. I remember the white feather.
Yeah.
But also there's a black feather that just got introduced.
Okay. What's the black feather represent?
Yeah, tell him to look for the darker feather.
Tell him to look for the darker feather. Okay, let's
It's all one. It's like the same, but
okay, very good. All right, it's like yin yang. Is that correct?
Michael Jackson just showed me in the boat, like, I'm black, I'm white. Sorry.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, they're all part of the same thing.
Right.
I don't think it was ever associated with white, because it was John who told him to look for the white feather.
Right,
but the idea is allow the black feather.
I can't think of that.
Yeah.
He just showed me a black feather with a white feather. It wasn't by itself. It was with the
Black
white
feather with a white feather?
Yeah.
Very good.
You just have to put it out there. They'll find us.
Okay, good. You want me to tell Jody that she can hear you, but what else do you want me to tell Jody?
To get her health.
Get her what?
To get her health checked.
With specifically?
I feel like she's afraid of doctors. This is the thing. So tell her not to worry about it. Like, her biggest thing is she worries about it, and tell her not to worry about it. And the best way to make it to where she doesn't worry about it is just by getting it confirmed.
Okay, very good. In terms of us working with your Brain Science Institute, me and Jennifer, there are emails. Do you want me to reach out to them and write to them? I mean, I can write a letter and say, hey,
Yes.
I talked to Paul. So now give me something specific that I can say that they will realize is incontrovertible evidence.
Something specific. Okay, thank you. So that's what it should be. I feel that you just have to say they need to be open to different realities or different possibilities.
They won't hear me.
Because he said that to them before he passed. He just keeps saying that he told them before he passed to expand what they were doing. Open up the research to different possibilities.
Okay, very good.
It can still be science-based, but dealing with consciousness, where is that? Like that kind of stuff that will lead them into that.
Let me ask you, when you passed away, who was in the room?
It almost feels like it was just his sister.
Jody. By herself or anybody else?
By herself.
Okay, very good. And the first person to greet you on the other
It almost felt like she might have left for a brief moment, and then he passed.
Okay. And is there in a specific sentence?
Yeah, it felt like she left.
She left for a minute.
It feels like she feels bad.
Where did she go get a sandwich? Bathroom.
Or something.
So you waited till she went to the bathroom to check out. And then you were met by Dave Duerson or somebody like Dave Duerson?
It was Dave.
Must have been unusual to see Dave Duerson. Was he wearing a uniform or was he wearing like what?
He was wearing a uniform to show him.
All right, very cool. And do you remember what uniform it was?
Maybe that's the 52. I don't know.
Very good. That gave me a chill.
Five just keeps popping out.
It would have been a weird thing if he was wearing
Five just keeps popping out.
It would have been weird if he was wearing a Chicago Bears outfit.
I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It's wonderful. Look, it's wonderful. It's finding your time now. What are you doing during the day?
He just had tons of paperwork, like just shuffling, like getting things in order.
So you're not just playing? I just thought you'd be playing.
That too at night. But yeah, he's definitely.
What kind of stuff do you play? R&B, blues, rock and roll? Everything.
He's focusing on the ukulele.
All right, it's allowed. I'm sure it must be weird to construct it, see? It's easier to construct than what Prince does. I mean, Prince can do it's unbelievable what Prince can do.
Right.
So it's easier.
And why even try?
A ukulele got 4 strings. You only have so many chords. You only get about 10 chords. It's much easier. So I'm just saying, I think the reason he's using a ukulele is because it's easier to play. I know it's delicate and it's soft.
No, I'm like, is it a better frequency? And he's like, no, it's not that. Yeah, like you said, easier to construct.
It's easier to construct, so which is fine. Because eventually, dude, you're going to be going, you'd be like,
and they're going to give us their first concert.
Right. Well, that would be a way to prove that there is a flip side, wouldn't it?
Right. Can you give us lower tickets?
We have Jimi Hendrix playing, and we have other people playing, and then downloading this stuff. Very good. And listen, we need your help, Paul. So, and Luana can introduce everybody in class.
Does Paul know the guy that did the Titanic?
Jim Cameron? You probably met him. Paul was a guy who dabbled in movies, and he made maybe 8 or 10 movies, and people ripped him off. They just kept borrowing, taking his money and making crummy movies. I know somebody who made a crummy movie for him. I can't think of her name. But it was like, no wonder he didn't want to make movies, because every time they took his money, they'd make a crappy movie, as opposed to other people. But anyway, that's all right. It's just money.
Just money, exactly. That's what I said.
But music. So like the drummer for Jimmy Fallon, he was bereft at Paul's passing, and he wrote a tweet that said, "I'm going to miss your encyclopedic mind of music." And this guy, the drummer, is known for that. He's an encyclopedia of music. So you must, Paul, you must have been, I think his name is Q or something, or I forget his name. So you must have been really up on that. So it was
a time period. He knew everything about time period.
So if you look around our class here, we got James Brown, we have Elvis, we have Aretha, we have Ray Charles. We have all these people that have come to our class and spoken.
He loves Aretha. And Whitney. He never knew.
We haven't talked to Whitney.
Right.
But for future time. Juana, are you impressed that we have all these people that we can talk to? You're the person who brought them here.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
You asked him.
I did. Well, thanks everybody for showing up today. We had a
You're going to help me tonight on my radio show.
Okay, very good.
All right.
See that this was the final outcome is really bittersweet and really sad.
But sadly, not uncommon. Dave Duerson of the Chicago Bears shot himself to death too. His brain diagnosed as riddled with CTE.
The combination of depression and lack of impulse control probably contributes to the suicide that we see in this group of individuals.
Dr. Robert Cantu says Junior Seau's death may make a difference to football players and fans, a tipping point of sorts, and signal that no one is immune to the chronic hard hits of the game they may love.
Junior Seau played a position at high risk for head trauma, middle linebacker, where individuals are funneled to you to make the hit. So it's really no surprise to me that Junior Seau had chronic traumatic encephalopathy. That he died so violently and so young, that certainly perhaps is a bit of a shock.
Seau is the highest profile player to be connected to CTE, and shivers went through the league today. Marcellus Wiley was an NFL teammate.
To know that that was his fate, it makes you question your mortality. The times I do forget things, the sleepless nights you may have, you start to wonder, are you down that path towards CTE?
The NFL is facing a lawsuit brought by 4,000 former players contending that the league did not do enough to protect them and hid long-term effects from its players. The NFL denies that it intentionally hid any risk from players, and today had this statement in response to Seau's diagnosis. The finding underscores the recognized need for additional research to accelerate a fuller understanding of CTE. The NFL is committed to supporting a wide range of independent medical and scientific research that will both address CTE and promote the long-term health and safety of athletes at all levels. We have work to do, and we're doing it. CTE can only be detected after death by examining the brain under a microscope. So far, 50 brains from football players have been diagnosed with CTE, 35 of them NFL players, and 6 of them high school athletes. The Seau say they just want today's players to make an informed decision, to know the risk for even the toughest in the league.
What should the NFL be doing?
I think the NFL has to take a bigger role in making sure that people are aware of what the side effects could be.
If you're going to play the sport and you love the game, be aware and be careful and know the signs and symptoms. Be extremely aware of what could potentially happen to your life.
So there's a big risk.
There's a huge risk.
The man of 1,000 hits may now change the game he loved in ways he never dreamed of. For Nightline, I'm Jim Avila in San Diego.
This is the guy.
The way you described him,
He was-
who greeted him, that's who we're talking to.
You have to understand, without question, he just was never, whatever happened, just wasn't him. It felt like he had he couldn't catch up to whatever was happening, and that's why he wanted to end it. He never meant to hurt you. And unfortunately at the time he didn't understand what he was even doing. Does that make sense?
I'm just glad he's here and showing up and conversing. This makes my day.
they need more awareness. They're showing me the neck because I feel like feels like their neck or something, their spine, like this part of it felt detached with all the concussions they had or compressed that broke, like something that just, so they're saying they need protection here somehow. They need to figure out how they can have protection and still move, if there's a way to do that.
Okay, more like what knights used to wear, like a metal armor around.
So he just showed me like Kobe Bryant getting shots. Like every time he got injured, he ended up with shots. There's nothing for the brain. They're not saying to do that. They're saying to avoid getting into that place. But like, there's no.
So more armor, perhaps more protection.
The game is still fun. They still love the game.
Okay, but you're saying more protection.
The game in and of itself is like gambling. It's a sickness.
Okay.
That's what they just showed me. True. I would never put that together.
Thought that, yeah.
That feeds the gambling.
Like what? I want to know who you're hanging out with.
They're playing football, but there's no injuries.
My question is, how do you create the football game?
He just showed me this like 3D, really? Madden, his games, like the games that they...
Like CGI video game things? Oh, like Madden.
They do that.
Thank you.
Like that on crack over there. So they take what they want with all the different football fields, right?
Are they the fields you played on? Or a combination? CGI fields, created fields? Are they real fields?
One person has their own home field.
I see.
Sounds like.
Okay. How many guys? Is it 2 squads?
So it's like quarterbacks against quarterbacks. It's not the same that I'm getting like a whole...
With all the collisions.
Yeah, with all the collisions.
Yeah.
It's quarterbacks versus quarterbacks and seeing how far you can throw.
Okay, but how many are all the players out there? You got 2 full squads, 11, just a few. And everything else is sort of filled in. But you were in...
So this is interesting.
Yeah.
So the energy of a football player, he's saying some people die and they're fine, they go off. He goes, we keep in our energy because we're still trying to make sure that people here figure out what happened.
Okay.
So helping out the doctor, helping out whatever it is to get these, to make sure that it doesn't happen.
But stay with me on the field for a second here. When you create a position that you're playing, what position do you play in this sort of created virtual reality? Or is it all?
Quarterback, what does he play?
Front? Are you knocking down
Defensive player?
Very good. Are you knocking players down? Are you knocking people down? But they don't get hurt.
It's different. Wow. Fuck, that's amazing. Sorry. So what I saw was, okay, so I saw the grid of how the football player, so just pretend that we're watching, we have the football players that are out here on the screen. And it's 3D. And so he's saying that when he plays, if you go through them, they don't get hurt, but you go through them, and at the impact of how strong you are is the impact of how many points you get.
Oh.
So it's like it's a mathematical grid where they run, and so if they get them, or if they just nick them, then it's not,
no
they have
points.
A whole like sacred geometry map of like how say it again. Sorry. It's a quantum field. It's a quantum field. Thank you. I know. He's like, I thought you had it, but you didn't say it. I was describing it.
It's a quantum field.
And your quantum players, why did you show me that? Interesting. So athletes are athletes over there. So I just saw him as a Roman with a disc, like throwing a disc.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they, when he goes, we get to choose who we are in our lives. All the times we've been in athletes of how we're going to play the game. He just showed me Arthur Ashe from playing tennis.
Oh, very good. Okay.
So how often do you do that football stuff? I mean, is it a lot, a little? just sometimes, or
There's no time.
there's no time? Okay, so cool.
So it's like, he just showed me race car driving. He goes, you can look on a grid and say, okay, I want to do this right now. And then all of a sudden,
You're there.
all the lights, so it's like a call, like, you know how those beepers when you're for lunch or whatever, and I don't know. So it's like that, it's a calling card to everybody else to get together, and whoever's in the game is in the game.
Is he gonna come back to in another?
He's waiting for you. So even if you negate any of this, just remember, I knew nothing about you.
Nothing. Zero.
Nothing about what was about. I never once put it together until we had this.
Who else did
Okay,
you say?
that's it. Hold on. The ring. Sorry. The little promise. He said he promised he'd never leave you. Okay.
He did.
That's what he promised. He brought that back to my awareness just now. And he says, I'm just not leaving you from the other side. I promise I will never leave you. I promise I will watch over you. I'm sorry. I'm a much better player over here than I am here. And not player, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay.
It's a good term.
What he tried to say from the get-go, and I didn't get it. And I'm sorry.
It's 12. Early April is when the documentary first aired on ESPN.
Yeah.
So there's a whole documentary done about it.
So when did I reach out to you? Like a day later?
I don't know when you sent that note.
So I sent a note.
I'm not very good on social
So what
media.
was your reaction to seeing a note on Instagram from a stranger who said, hey, your
Well,
husband showed up in a session the other day?
Yeah, so, yeah, you had a really long message, and I just was...
Like, what the?
Because my phone was going crazy. Because now people can just find you on social media. And
No,
send
but
you
I mean, the
messages.
Instagram one couldn't have been that long. I mean, it was probably just...
I mean, yeah, but I was intrigued.
Yeah.
So when you said
Because
that...
then you reached out.
You said, check out my website or check out this link, and so like a day or two later, after the message came, I did, and read about it, and I just had chills, because that made sense.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So you had chills.
I had chills, and I went, oh my gosh, maybe I should follow up on that.
So Junior, did you give her those chills?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
He shows me holding her from behind, giving me the chills.
And I'm just trying to get to the architecture of how these things
He
work.
said your other guy was in the room.
Probably.
But you know what I'm saying? So the architecture of how our loved ones reach out to us, who tap somebody like me in the head, tap Jennifer, blah, blah, blah. So it really...
I had no idea when we were talking about. I'm like, I had no idea.
Well, when we first started talking about him and how he passed, you said there was a car crash, and there was a, remember he drove off the cliff?
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Before he killed
Yeah.
himself, he drove off a cliff and said, oh, I fell asleep at the wheel.
Right.
So there was a big crash that he survived.
Yeah.
Did he show you that?
Yes.
Because he drove.
He showed me the car going off the cliff. But I thought, okay, it's a car crash internally.
Yeah.
But I felt it was an internal crash. So a lot of times they get shown the crash.
You had both.
For the internal, yeah.
You said both.
So yeah, the crash occurred, and then I knew he needed help. And
That was
so
like a year before.
Yes.
Normally I would ask him to talk about why he chose this lifetime. It's kind of the work we do.
He just showed me her
So, very good.
and the
That's-
brain.
So the idea of choosing a difficult lifetime, where not only did he get to meet a soulmate or be together again with a soulmate, but also to teach people about this brain injury. So it's like when you're standing in class and everybody says, okay, who wants to volunteer to play this role? Junior said, I can do that.
I know, I always wonder, like when we talk about signing up to come to this earth, why do you sign up to be a poor Samoan in the hood, in the streets?
Because
You're
he
suffering
wasn't,
and getting,
he wasn't.
like getting verbally abused as a
Because
child.
those experiences determined him to become the athlete and the superstar that he was. The greatest defensive player of all time.
He's known as one of the greatest linebackers of all time.
Junior.
Junior Seau.
Do you have a picture? Can I see a picture?
And when you walked in your blue,
He chose that too. I had
Your
like
blue?
3 different outfits on.
and
Like
last
the-
night I told him I was going to wear red because red's his other favorite color, but blue was, Charger blue. He's a San Diego.
So he was a Charger.
And my dad's favorite team.
So, but the point is, so Junior, you chose this lifetime so you could go through these obstacles. Is that correct or not?
It's more complicated.
It's more complicated. Yes or no? Yes. Okay, yes. I understand.
Well, he just showed me he showed me the grid of choosing this, it affects, sorry, I love what he's showing me because it makes sense to me. So we're not just choosing this life, right? And it's been my experience where we have different lives happening right now.
Mhm.
This particular life, it's almost like a game. He just showed me how it's complicated, and then he showed me how it drops into all the other lives that we are right now, and how this life's gonna affect that one. It's like almost like having each life affect, like, you know, when you talked about being a poor, you know,
Samoan,
how that life might be the fact that thank you, that the daughter of that person ends up being the football player that goes and plays, that, you know, the person that actually, or the coach that actually gets him to do this or that. So each one is a game. This is playing football. Did he ever play football with his kids? Like
Yeah, he
just,
did. Playing around.
Just the playing part he missed. He also misses your hair, the smell of your hair.
That's so funny. Okay, here's a picture.
You know what? That was the picture that I saw. That was actually the picture that I saw when I said you guys met when you were really young.
Yeah.
All right.
But a couple weeks ago, maybe something that we didn't get to.
All right, let's.
And then I just got shown the guy that from Microsoft,
Paul Allen.
Paul Allen. Because there needs to be another clip.
Another
So
clip.
yeah, there needs to be another clip. And it hasn't been done yet, so we need to ask him questions. Maybe there are questions that you have for him.
Okay, let's do that. Should we do it now?
Yeah.
Paul? All right, so.
He showed me Paul, because apparently I wouldn't recognize Junior. Maybe.
Oh, Junior wants to talk as well. Well, we know he
Junior
wants
does.
to talk. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. I see. So Junior.
There's another clip to this. I don't know what it is.
I see. You want a third clip in there. All right, that's fine.
Has to do with a different person, a different football player.
Okay, I understand. All right, and it's because we didn't talk to the third person. I know what you're talking. So Junior, dude, I appreciate you coming by to tell us. Do you want us to talk about Dave Duerson?
Yes.
Okay, but can we bring Dave Duerson in to talk to Dave for a little bit?
He's there. Yeah. So
Okay,
it's
very
Dave.
good.
Okay.
So-
he has his story too.
He has his story too. So Dave, because we were so startled. Well, let me clarify something, which wasn't clear. Which is, Paul, when you passed away, Junior was there to greet you, and Dave was there to greet you, and other players were there to greet you, or just those two dudes, or one of those two dudes.
They were the front line.
Front line.
They just showed me them in their football outfits, like no one can get
Ready to
past
go.
us. We're there.
All right.
It's actually pretty funny.
When Jennifer was accessing this information, she saw an African American, and then she said, "Oh, he's Polynesian," which was Junior. The African American, correct me if I'm wrong, that might have been Dave Duerson.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, so she's.
And I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
she doesn't know these people, but she was able to. So we had
there's a
Dave.
distinct mark in Dave's face. Like, I don't know.
Like a thing on his forehead. Okay. Well, his number was 22.
Oh, master number.
And Junior's number was 55. Okay, so pretty easy to remember. But you kept saying I'm getting a 2 and a 2 and I'm getting a 5 and a 5 and a 5 and a 2 and I don't know what that means. But we could break that down.
You broke that down. Yeah.
So, all right. So Dave Duerson, can we ask you some questions, Dave?
That's why he's here.
So Dave, who was there to greet you?
Sure, he's a big guy.
Who was there to greet you when you
Not
crossed?
as big as the fridge. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry? Not as big as the fridge?
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Okay. That's funny.
I think it's funny.
Do you know what that means?
Not really. I think wasn't the fridge like Pittsburgh?
No, the fridge was a Chicago Bear. And he was a Chicago Bear.
I didn't know that.
That's a good joke.
Well, I thought the fridge
I get
was
it.
somebody from the Steelers. I
No,
look
no,
like an
I get
idiot
it.
on here.
It's okay. I
He
get
was
it.
not as big because he took a chair and he sat and he broke the chair. I'm like, are you that big? And he goes, not as big as the fridge.
Very good. I would get that joke. You would not. The audience will get the joke.
Okay.
Either Jennifer, it's like really up on her Chicago Bear history, or Dave Duerson make a joke that people that knew him would laugh at.
Yeah.
All right, so
There's a height difference too with them.
yeah, huge.
I don't know.
He's alive. Well, Fridge is alive.
I know.
I think.
I don't know that. I don't
know.
care. But he just showed me. Oh, there's a big difference with us.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, and he just said his arms were bigger, but I don't think that was the
He's
case.
huge. So Dave Duerson, terrific football player. So who was there to greet you on the other side when you crossed over?
So sweet. Hold on. It was somebody like his mother. So I don't know if his mother. I think his mother was here, but I feel like it had to do with his mother.
Okay.
Like somebody that took care of him. It felt like a grandma, like somebody or an aunt. I think he had a lot of those. I'm not just trying to say that, but
Sure. It's okay.
It felt like his grandmother.
Was that a surprise for you, or was that
And his dog. His dog.
his dog?
Yeah.
What kind of dog did you have, Dave?
It almost feels like a German Shepherd, but it's not like that. It's kind of like a big. I don't know. It's a big dog.
Like a mix, or a big dog, or a little, or middle, medium?
I'm like, compared to you, he's like, it's a small dog compared to me. I'm like, that's not helping. And he showed me 22 again. It's a dog I've had for 22 years. And it felt like the dog died of cancer like the year before, or a couple of years before he passed.
Mm-hmm. So, Dave, let's talk a little bit about your brain issues. What was happening before?
The synapses were not. He just showed me just being cut. And he showed me like it felt like testosterone. Like it felt. Okay, hold on. Okay, he said he did testosterone, or not testosterone, but whatever it is back in the 80s. Steroids back in the 80s? Or something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
right. They did steroids,
I
yeah.
don't know that. He just said, I'm like, so were you doing steroids? He's like, no, I did that way, way back. And then he said, it wouldn't connect. Like every time he went for a thought, it wouldn't connect. He felt like it almost like hurt. Like it felt like,
Disjointed?
and then some, yeah. It's interesting. I want him to show me again, I think. It's kind of scary. They're laughing. They said his mind's dirty. I'm all, put me in your mind. And then Junior just like kind of walked away laughing. He's like, his mind's dirty. I'm like, just put me in your mind to see what you were going through. Oh, they're so funny. Okay. That's interesting. The way that he presents it is that it's like waking up and not being able to get up. So it's like having a cap, like something that, so it's like you want to look at the sky, but you can't look past the wall. There's just something
blocking
feels like it's
your
blocking like everything. So it made him feel paralyzed, and that's where they go in their psyche, and that's where they start freaking out over it.
I see. And this was news to you, and no one could tell you what was wrong.
Hold on. He kept it quiet. For the last 3 months of his life, 3 months or 3 years? 3 months. So the last 3 months of his life, he tried to keep it quiet, but whoever he was with knew, like his family members knew. He tried to keep it quiet, he would make jokes, okay. Thank you. He took drugs to go to sleep. So whatever, like Ambien, whatever it was that he took to go to sleep made him feel even more paralyzed. Made him even more like discombobulated.
At what point did you realize that your solution was to take your life, your own life, but leave a note for them to study your brain?
Aww. When he knew that everybody else would be okay.
When he knew that everybody else would be okay. Do you mean financially or emotionally?
All of it.
So at that point you thought,
And
okay.
there was a big mess after he left. There was a
Yeah,
big, I
sure.
don't know this, he just showed me tons of paper, like a big mess. And he's like, fuck it didn't matter, I was in too much pain. But
What did you write on your note? If you want to tell Jennifer, I know we can find it out, I can look it up, but perhaps you can just tell her.
please help the future players. And he showed me Tom Brady again. He said, please help the future players. So something along those lines.
That's really what his message is. Whatever the note said, this is what the message means. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And
I just can't take it anymore.
we need to ask Dave what he misses about being on the planet, if anything.
Smells. He misses,
Smell?
He misses smells. And
Like smell, like what kind of smells?
Like women.
Like women? Like perfume stuff?
Yeah.
Dave, it was reported that your family was not happy with the way you were portrayed in the movie Concussion. Is that correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Were you not happy with it?
I was happy with it. It was Will Smith.
Well, Will didn't play him.
I know, he doesn't play him. But they left a lot out, he says. There was a lot of turmoil that they actually left out versus exaggerated.
Okay.
Because they were afraid about legal lines, like something to do with legal stuff.
Anything you want to say to people who may have watched that film? How to correct that? What would it be?
Take the overall knowledge from it, but know that it was superficial, the way it was portrayed. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know.
All right. So it says here that you have a son.
That's what I was getting to. Yeah.
Okay. What would you like? What would you like?
The sun.
Okay.
I kept on showing the sun. He kept on talking about it. Okay.
What would you like to say to your son, my friend?
Live healthy. Hold on. I know you want more. Stop thinking it, Rich.
No, I'm not. Live healthily. All right, that's
Live
nice.
healthy. Drink lots of water. Know that I'm always your first guardian.
Now his son.
And he says that, please know that I knew that you would have a better life without me. He's very smart.
He's very smart. Okay,
Very
that's
smart,
correct.
and it feels like he has a philanthropy group as well as an investment group.
And when we talked to Paul the first time,
Mhm.
and I asked about your sister's name, you said Tracy. Paul, do you remember that? Do you remember telling her Tracy?
Yes.
Is that a reference to your bodyguard, Tracy?
Yes.
Because I asked, is there some word or some person or something that Jody would know that this is you talking? And you said, is her name Tracy? And I said, no, it's not her name, Jody. So this
That was
other
the reference.
okay, so
Yes.
very good. I want to clarify that.
Yeah. No.
Of course, I just laid it all out there, but thank you for
But
clarifying.
no. But he just said that it had to do with all of that.
I figured that. I figured that was his way of saying we're talking about, because I put that in the thing. I said, I think this is an answer to the next question, which was,
Yes.
is there something? By the way, Paul, I did reach out to Julian Lennon, based on your conversation with us, that he should look for black feathers. And
He wrote a song
well, I don't know about that, but he
about
wrote.
feather.
Okay, he wrote me back and said, it's funny you should say that, because he has been noticing them quite a lot. And then I wrote him back after that, and he wrote me back yin yang, meaning balance.
The white and
Black
the
and white,
feather.
yeah. So you got a response, Paul, from Julian about your comment.
He knows.
All right, very good. He knows.
They're all working together in the class. They're showing me all the different areas that they're helping each
Different
other.
aspects. Okay, very good.
Like Dave coming in today.
So, who were you surprised to see when you got to the other side?
I Why did you show me Fran Tarkington? That doesn't make sense. Okay, you show me Fran Tarkington. I think it is. I don't know.
What's the uniform?
I don't know. Who's the guy that had like, I want to say Fran, but I think I got it wrong. He has brown hair, great smile. I know, that doesn't leave me very much. I have him in my head. Not Fran Tarkington. Who is this guy? I'm so pissed. I don't know. And I used to know football really well. Oh my gosh. See, the best way I can explain this guy is he looks like Neil Diamond, kind of.
Okay.
I can't freaking, like he has the same.
Curly hair, black curly hair, or?
No, like he looks like he was a quarterback. He looks like he was,
Dave, is that guy that she's talking about on the flip side? Or is he somebody here who's suffering from it?
Named Joe. Hold on. Joe. Hold on. Joe, not Joe Montana. I think it's Joe though. I think he was on even like Heaven Can Wait. Maybe even for the LA Rams. I can't remember. All right, I'm gonna think. I can't.
Let's not worry about it. I mean, because listen, we're trying to interview Dave, right? But you guys are trying to bring somebody else in that whatever. It's just as important. Dave is the patient zero with CTE because his brain was the one that they studied.
He said he did something right. He hurt.
We'll get to it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
So Dave,
it's gonna drive me fucking batshit crazy.
What do you want to say to your fans?
I did the right thing to help future players.
Okay,
and not be upset about what I did.
Don't be upset about what I did, and
that was my path.
That was
my
your path.
path was to go through what I went through, even though I hurt some people along the way.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand it. I would get so. He told me it was paralyzing.
Okay. And are you hanging out with any Bears over there? Any other Chicago Bears, or just other CTE guys?
All of them.
All of them. Okay, very good.
They have the best football teams ever over there.
Alrighty, and does everybody play the same position? We talked about this.
They learn new positions.
Okay, very good. We talked about this. We talked about the idea that you score points by having the ability to go through something.
Correct, because it's not fair to be the fridge and then to be me.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
All right, so
awesome.
So Dave.
Even though the fridge is still here.
Dave, what
He has
else?
it too, though.
What?
The fridge has it too.
Oh, okay. So what do you want?
Actually, he gave it to a lot of people.
Oh, that's funny. It's a funny joke.
I mean, not.
I get it. No, I get the joke.
It just shows me he was the one.
I get it, because Fridge would knock people into Kingdom Come. Dick Butkus too. There was quite a few people. You know, it's a rough game. What's your recommendation, Dave, on how people should fix this problem and this issue?
Armor. He just keeps on saying armor.
Armor. Okay. So, we talked about something.
And making it a virtual game.
Making it a virtual game. Well, it already is. But
right, I can't explain it.
I don't know if we can do that.
They showed me Tron, like
right.
Tron.
Well, that would certainly be.
But you still have to have people that you still would have to have people that.
Are you saying that's what they're going to do in the future, Dave? Make it a virtual game, so you'll wear like the armor and then you go out and play, but you'll never get hurt.
Yeah, they will.
How many years?
2050.
All right, very good.
I'm not going to be around.
Yeah, we'll be around. We just won't be sitting here.
I'll be going, I got that one too. I predicted that over there. But what he did in this life was help everyone, because it really was the and Junior just came in and he said, yeah, obviously we all took note of that. But their deaths were really close together, correct?
Junior and
was it like 3 years apart?
1 year.
1 year. I don't feel like they ever talked about it either.
I don't think so, but because of Dave, people suspected that the reason that Junior didn't shoot himself in the head was because of Dave. Is that correct, Junior?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you knew that this would be a way to help Gina in a way. So how's Gina doing? How is she doing with this information? 'Cause I don't know.
It calmed her heart. It just shows me her so much more at peace.
Joe Namath's legacy on the football field is legendary, but it's the work he's doing off the field that's getting so much attention these days, raising awareness about concussions and traumatic brain injury. Namath started playing football as a young kid. He now supports a new study that revealed playing tackle football before 12 is tied to brain problems later.
It's too early. Contact football, certainly. I think, that's my opinion. There are parents that feel otherwise, and usually the youngsters, they get involved because the parents want them to get involved or the neighborhood's involved, you know. You don't have to start that early.
Several years ago, Namath was having normal, age-related forgetfulness. He became concerned after high-profile football players were diagnosed with chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is caused by multiple concussions. Namath became the first patient in what would become a groundbreaking clinical trial at Jupiter Medical Center.
Sportsmen aren't the only ones that have traumatic brain injuries. Kids fall off bicycles, we're in automobile accidents regularly in our military. Gosh, the traumatic brain injuries they receive. So we know that we can help folks that do have traumatic brain injuries. I've been through it. I've been helped through our hyperbaric oxygen therapy at Jupiter Medical Center.
For 7 months, 5 days a week, he spent an hour inside one of these hyperbaric oxygen chambers. Oxygen has long been used to treat wounds, and now doctors believe it can heal traumatic brain injuries by waking cells up and revitalizing them. Namath's brain scans prove that. Here's a look at his first brain scans from 2012. One side of his brain, the area that's yellow and orange, shows normal blood flow and function. On the other side, the brain cells weren't getting the oxygen they needed. After treatment, the damage was gone.
As recent as this past March, I had another scan, and the way my doctors put it to me over at Jupiter Medical Center, the guys that were looking at the results were saying, yes, right on. So the brain can regenerate the cells that are hurt, damaged, not getting the good blood flow.
Hall of Fame quarterback Joe Namath speaking only to WPTV about a report this week in the New York Times about brain injuries and football players. Doctors tested the brains of more than 100 dead NFL players. All but one came back with CTE. It's a brain disease linked to blows to the head. Namath is hoping treatment he went through at Jupiter Medical Center will one day help minimize the impact of brain injuries on others. As our Chris Stewart reports, it's a clinical trial that Namath guarantees helped him and believes it can help those well beyond football.
This is bigger than sports. This is for everyone.
Hall of Famer Joe Namath went through the same therapy. In fact, the room's now named after him. He's an iconic Super Bowl hero who suffers today from multiple concussions.
Okay, you had your bell rung. That was just a part of the athlete's life. We had no idea that it was a damaging blow potentially to the brain.
Before Namath underwent therapy, doctors found part of his brain wasn't getting the proper blood flow, a side where he took a lot of hits. After spending time in the chamber, x-rays showed those parts of Namath's brain woke up.
We can get them into the trial, and we can treat them and change their lives. You're looking at 60, 70 years ahead of them of a totally different life.
Dr. Lee Fox, who helps run the clinical trial, explained how doctors increase air pressure while patients are in the chamber. I went in for myself.
So then pure oxygen would fill the chamber and at a higher pressure than room pressure.
The goal now is for this therapy to help patients from all backgrounds. From a person just trying to drive home.
Everything was so much clearer, brighter.
To a football legend.
I think the good Lord and Lady Luck have played a major role in my case.
Again, this is a clinical test right now, and Dr. Fox says the results are promising. So far, they've tested about 15 patients, and they're planning to test up to 100. In the newsroom, Chris Stewart, WPTV News Channel 5.